So a couple days ago, DJI came out with a firmware update on this one right here, the DJI Avata 2. Pretty much one of the first or main updates that they finally put out on this drone since its release. And for those that have been flying with the DJI Avata 1, good news that if you do have the Goggles 2 or the Goggles Integra, as well as the Motion 2 controller, they are now compatible with the Avata 2. So it's an interesting update that they are opening it up to all of the older gear, which would get everyone excited. So if you owned an Avata 1 and you're like, sweet, I don't have to buy all this gear to now fly an Avata 2. I've been waiting for it to be sold drone only. It's now compatible, but the drone only is still not available for sale on their website. You would think that it would just be all released all at once so that people that wanted and had been waiting can just go out and buy it. But for some odd reason on the website, it just says reserve and then you type in your email. So I'm assuming whenever it does come available, then you'll be able to purchase it. Would have been nice to release the firmware update and release the drone only option at the same time. But like I mentioned, DJI's latest firmware update now has support for some of the older gear. So if you have the Motion 2, you can now link it up with the Avata 2. If you have the Remote Control 2, as well as the Goggles version 2, or the Goggles Integra, all of this is now supported with the Avata 2 firmware update. For those first gen DJI FPV drone flyers, the Motion 1 right here does not support or is not supported at this time. I don't believe it's going to be supported. Or if you have the version 1 goggles, also these are not supported at this time, and I don't know if they ever are going to be supported. Now, when it comes to updating your firmware on the drone itself, so if you do have an Avata 2 and you want to update your firmware to work with all of this gear, you're going to need to do the firmware update on all of them. The easiest way to do a lot of the firmware updates is just to download the DJI Assistant app through their website. And that way, all you have to do is open it up on your computer and plug it into the device. So all you have to do is plug in USB-C, plug it in here to your computer and do the update that way. For me, I find it just a lot more reliable, a lot easier than trying to launch the app and then connecting to your network, connecting to a Wi-Fi for you to download it. All you have to do when you have the DJI Assistant app, plug it in, you'll see it show up there. It'll say Avata 2. Hit update, and then it'll show you all of the previous firmwares that are on the drone, as well as if there is an update, it'll say update. All you do is click it, and it'll automatically update that device that's hooked up. Once you update the drone, do the same process with all of your other remotes. So plug in the Motion 2, plug in the Remote Control 2, your goggles, plug it in one by one. It'll then show up on DJI Assistant. All you have to do is click update, let it run. Now, one of the nice features that DJI did update on this one is you are able to use what they call DJI Color Assist. So if you are shooting in D-Log-M, which is their flat color profile, the one thing is before when you were shooting in D-Log, the preview through your DJI Goggles 3 would be in that flat color profile, which means it's very flat, very dull. You don't have much contrast or color in there. They did now add in the color assist, which is something that they've previously put onto all of their other drones too. So it's nice that they brought it over here. You now have the option to turn on or off the color assist. Now it is going to show you a colored version through the DJI Goggles 3. However, the actual file itself is going to be in that flat D-Log profile that's being recorded to the drone. Now, one thing I did find out was that when I did hook up and update the firmware on this one right here, which is the Integra goggles, the DJI Color Assist is not available on these goggles, and I don't believe it's available on the Goggles 2. I'll have to double check that again. But I did see that it was a nice feature on the Goggles 3, but Color Assist was not on the Integra ones. So if you do want that color assist, just note from what I see, it's only on the Goggles 3. Jumping back over to the Motion 2 remote control. Yes, you are able to hook up the Motion 2 now to the Avata 2. And the one thing that's great about this updated feature is that you are able to still access the easy acro mode. That's one of the features that the Avata 2 and the Motion 3 had for this version, is the easy acros. Now, once you do the firmware updates and say you want to use something like this, the Integra goggles, you want to use that with the Avata 2, you're going to need to go under your menu system, go under status, then you're gonna need to switch your goggles out from using the Avata 1, switch that over to the Avata 2. You need to scroll down to the very bottom. You'll now see the Avata 2 as one of the options. Now, once you hit that switch, it still might not actually be hooked up. So the thing you're gonna want to also check is that if it's not directly linked, is that you're still going to need to link the goggles to the drone. That was something that you might kind of like overlook, is because you think that it's already there and it automatically work once it says it's switched in there. However, you still need to link these together. And the easiest way to link them together, power them both on. So this is the Avata 2 is on right now. This is the Goggles Integra. All you have to do is power them on, press and hold the power button until it starts beeping. Okay, starts beeping. Press and hold the power button on the Avata 2. Okay. And there you go. Once I pressed and held that, it went into linking mode. This one was already in linking mode when it was beeping, and then it stopped. That means these two are now connected. And finally, one of the features that they did add here, 4K 100 frames a second, a bump up from 4K 60 frames a second. So if you do want to slow your footage down a little bit, they did bump that up. It would have been nice if they went to 4K 120. In order for you to change that, you just have to go to your camera settings, go over to the quality. Normally it'll stop at 4K 60, scroll up now, and you now will have that 4K 100 frames a second option on the Avata 2. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Alton Stasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.